an invisible way to gradually straighten teeth into a perfect smile. Looks simple, right?
The fact is, the apparent simplicity of the Invisalign system belies the complexity of the underlying manufacturing process.
Align technology is revolutionizing the field of orthodontics, using the latest advances in 3D computer technology. But many people don't realize that the company, headquartered here in Santa Clara, California, is making a similar impact in the world of manufacturing as well. While most companies either mass-produce identical items or turn out a relatively low volume of custom-made items, Align Technology has created a unique process that allows them to mass-produce custom items, and they're the first in the world to do so. Let's go inside and see how it's done. The Invisalign process begins much like it does with traditional braces, with the orthodontist making an initial diagnosis and mapping out a course of treatment. Then these are sent to Align Technology, along with the patient's x-rays and impressions of the patient's teeth and bite. As part of inputting this information into the computer, highly trained dental technicians make a positive from the patient's impressions in the form of a plaster model. This model represents the patient's teeth in a physical form as they exist at the beginning of treatment. At this point, the quality of the plaster is double-checked by an independent set of eyes. Verification steps such as these occur throughout the entire manufacturing process and ensure that the quality is built into the product every step of the way. This is the data acquisition lab, where the more technical aspect of the process really starts. Here the models are converted into three-dimensional data through a scanning process. First, a barrier coating is applied to the plaster, which is extremely porous, so it can survive the next step. The epoxy being applied here creates a protective shell. Once they're sealed, the models are placed into a chase and then encased in a mixture of urethane resin and hardener. After a few hours in a pressure vacuum chamber, they become blocks of hardened resin, with many plaster models inside. From here, each tray is placed into a destructive scanning machine. With 11 of these in its facility, Align Technology is the largest single user of this technology on the planet. What a destructive scanning machine does is remove paper-thin slices of about 0.03 of an inch, with the digital camera taking a two-dimensional scan after each slice. A computer stacks together around 300 of these digital images to create a three-dimensional model. So now the computer harbors a highly accurate record of the patient's teeth, as well as the interproximal spaces between them, as they are found in the physical world. When that's done, it is sent to our technicians, who review the patient's photos and wax bite to make sure the occlusion on the 3D digital data is correct to the patient's actual mouth.
We check to make sure that the anatomy of the bite is correct. These are the contact points right here.
This data is then sent to graphic designers who use a proprietary 3D computer graphics application to cut out each tooth and save it as a separate geometric unit. Once the teeth are separated and reassembled back into the gums, the designers create a final setup of what the patient's teeth will look like when the treatment is complete. Using a software program, they then create a series of stages that go from the current condition to the desired end result. Each stage represents the tooth movement achieved with each aligner, with the total number of stages varying from case to case. Treat, Align's own proprietary software, is protected by a number of issued patents, pending patents, and other intellectual property. Next, the work is reviewed through an extensive internal quality check process to make sure that what the prescribing doctor has asked for, the way the teeth should move, and the sequence in which they move is exactly what has been created with the virtual treatment. This simulation is then electronically delivered to the prescribing doctor for the final quality check via an application called ClinCheck. By reviewing and amending, if necessary, the virtual treatment, the orthodontist retains control over the treatment plan. Upon approval, a series of dental models are constructed out of photosensitive thermoplastic. These models are fabricated using a custom manufacturing process specifically adapted for Align Technology. Each of these machines, called a stereolithography apparatus, takes the digital information of the graphic images shown earlier and creates a physical model from it, using a laser beam to solidify liquid resin layer by layer. This results in a series of models replicating each stage of the virtual treatment for a patient, and these are then used to fabricate the finished product, a series of clear Invisalign aligners. The aligners are made using heat to pressure-form thermoplastic sheets over each model. The aligners are then trimmed to within 0.5 millimeter of the gingival margin for optimal comfort and minimal visibility. After being polished and disinfected in a series of cleaning tanks, each set of aligners is packaged, labeled, and shipped directly to the prescribing orthodontist.
Every patient we treat is unique. Every stage of treatment is unique. As a result, we make millions of unique appliances a year. We use some of the most revolutionary, cutting-edge, modern manufacturing technology to meet this challenge.
The Invisalign system provides a revolutionary way to straighten teeth without braces. As you've seen, it makes for one complex manufacturing process, but also for a lot of perfect smiles.